Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we proudly provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and today's show is Judgment, the Hidden Sin, based on my new book, Holy But Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment. Have you ever been judged? Have you judged? I'm sure the answer in most cases is yes. We are always judging, and that's a judgmental statement as well. The purpose of this show is to bring awareness about how and when we're judging so that we can take a 6-second pause and think about these 3 questions. Before you speak, is it kind? Is it necessary? And is it true? If not, maybe we should think before we speak. So today's show, I'm super excited for our 4th episode to welcome Tricia Copeland, who is a wonderful person, has been on our platform before, comes to us through Creative Edge with Mickey Mickelson. And she is also a podcast host. She's also a best-selling author. And she is someone who truly leads with her heart. She's going to be sharing with us a little bit about the characters in her works, about her creativity, and about how judgment has come to play in both of these situations. Let's welcome Tricia Copeland to the program. Hello, welcome. Nice to have you.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. I can't believe I'm the 4th guest. I feel so honored.
Yes, it's a brand new show that I came up with as a result of the book. And I thought, judgment comes in so many ways and so many times in so many places. I don't think it would be difficult to start a TV show where people are going to talk about judgment. So
how much time do we have here?
I know we could go on and on. But, Tricia, what I found is sometimes when we're judged, it really cuts like a knife. And maybe we don't say anything. Maybe we don't give anything away on our face, but we walk away feeling heavy, this heaviness. And I'd love for you to share just a little bit before we get into your background. When you thought about coming onto this show, knowing that it was about judgment, what came up for you?
My first thought is that I tend to be very self-critical. So my self-judgment is usually worse than anything anybody else would judge me on. So if I come away from a conversation, I come away from really anything, not as much now, but as a younger person, I would come away from that experience, like just picking apart like everything I did wrong, no matter what situation it was and what I needed to change and how horrible I'd been about X, Y, or Z when, nobody was looking at me that way. Nobody was even thinking that I'd done something wrong or misspoke or any of that. But it was all this narrative in my head that just kept me stuck in only focusing on what I did wrong in any situation or any product that I produced, any report that I produced, any work that I did at work. It really infiltrated all my life till the fact that I was so neurotic about getting things wrong that I could never see that I was getting lots of things right. And that brings in self-doubt. It hurts your confidence. It hurt lots of aspects of my life because I was continually just in this state of anxiety that I was going to mess things up. And then after the fact, critiquing what I did mess up instead of looking at probably like the 99% of things that were fine in whatever I was doing. And of course, I'm looking at myself now and I'm wearing sort of like white and black prison garb, but
I love just how candid and honest you are. It's really a beautiful quality. Thank you for sharing it. Sometimes it can feel uncomfortable to share things that are really true and private to us, but when we do so, we're really helping other people. And we all have titles. So you're a publisher, you're a best-selling author, you're a podcaster. But before any of that, you are a human being and you're showing up with a bright light in the world, wanting people to see you for who you are. And sometimes I think we as humans, we get so caught up in what we're expected to be and what people expect from us that we start going within and sort of being our worst enemy. And you were talking about that. I do the same thing to myself every day. I'm like, why am I so wide? I can't stand how wide my waist is. When did this happen? And it's like takes over everything else. I can't even see anything else except becoming fixated on that because living in a society where we're constantly being judged. And I know I think it was your first book series, you dealt with what we look like and how we are on the outside and how we're perceived. And how did that impact you and what did you do about it?
right. So when I was a young adult in college, I developed anorexia, and I a lot of the factors that led into that were that perfectionistic mentality and feeling like people were looking at me and seeing me as a non-perfect person. If I didn't make the perfect grades, if my body didn't look a certain way, if I wasn't involved in enough activities, if I didn't, wasn't headed in the right direction with my career and my school. And the end result I needed to be working towards that end result in order to be accepted and perfect and looked at as a good enough person, right? So I got into this cycle of, okay, I'm going to exercise as much so I lose as much weight, so I look perfect, and just hiding really every other aspect of my life, just becoming this shell of a person that can only relate to people in this superficial way, and really just keeping others at bay by doing that, at the same time wanting to attract them with this physical appearance and this perfect life that that I had created this persona for myself, because I was really hiding a lot of insecurities about was I really going to be able to get to where I thought I needed to be, or, was I really going to be able to do well in school or achieve all the things that needed to be supposedly achieved in life. So I think I was really masking all of that. And silently in my head too, I was judging people about the same things that I was trying to be good at. Like I would see people and think, oh, well, I'm better than them because I have a better body. Like, really, that makes a difference? Like, it doesn't make a difference at all, right? And so, but I think at that point, I was only trying to make myself feel better because I had no confidence, no, self-confidence. And I was really only trying to make myself better. Well, I'm a little better than them because of X, Y, Z, right? Just trying to prop myself up with anything that I could try to prop myself up with, because I just really felt like I wasn't at the bar of where everybody else was. And that's where that judgment comes in. Like a lot of times it's masking like how we're seeing ourselves or how we're feeling about ourselves. And it's just sort of a mirror as what we're putting emphasis and what we are thinking should be important in our lives, when probably none of that really matters. Like, and what I learned afterwards is like really to connect with people is really to drop all of that stuff. And really how you connect with people is by connecting with them genuinely. How are you feeling about X? What are you scared about X? And that is where the humanity comes in, I guess, and how you can really connect with people. But at the time, I really didn't, for whatever reason, have those skills, or had so many insecurities that I just couldn't relate to people in that way.
Tricia, thank you so much for sharing that and also bringing to light the fact that we, whether we know it or not, we're using this hierarchy system of I'm not good enough or I'm better than in a constant state of comparison. And, I thought to myself, here in the States, there is a celebrity couple. They're actually in other parts of the world too, and they announced they're getting divorced. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this woman is so beautiful. She's so this, she's so that. If she's getting divorced, what is in it for the rest of us? And I thought to myself, well, that's kind of judgmental, isn't it? And then I thought, why do we have to be comparing ourselves to other people? But I feel like that's the way that society, at least in the States, is. And what I want to share is I recently was traveling outside the States, and what I saw were women who were embracing themselves. They were not caring what anyone thought about themselves, wearing string bikinis. I won't even wear a bathing suit. That's how bad it is for me in my own mind. But I feel like, what a joy to go someplace where you're actually looked at and celebrated for what you have on the inside, not what you have on the outside. So what I'd love to have you share now is we'll talk about your work as a podcaster and then go into your work as an author and a publisher. So you've interviewed a number of people, and I'd like to know, what's that experience like for you when you're on the other side of the microphone, knowing that people will be revealing things to you that maybe they didn't even expect to reveal?
Yeah, it's much more comfortable for me to be asking questions than to be answering them, definitely. And I love talking to authors because no matter, even if you get the most introverted author, and they a lot of times are nervous, they're anxious, and they don't think they're going to be able to talk. As soon as you get them talking about their characters, usually you can't get them to stop, which is so much fun because you just see their face light up and then become animated. And just usually a character or a story is a passion project for an author, even if it's in a fantasy realm or a sci-fi realm. It's something that is important to them. It's a theme that's important to them, a genre, just all wrapped up in that. And so I really think, authors' books are extensions of themselves. So just to see an author's face light up and be able to talk about their characters and their themes and their stories, it's so much fun, and I love it. Yeah.
It is fun to see people light up. Like, I'm enjoying watching you light up on this program. So you're doing a great job behind the camera and in front of the camera. I want to talk about the fact that you've won a number of awards, and with awards comes responsibility in some ways, because then people are looking to you and they're going, okay, she's the expert, she's the leader in this area. And with that can also come some judgment. So sometimes, and I know this for a fact personally and also through colleagues of mine, people accomplish wonderful things, and there are people who are not cheering them on. There are people who are coming up with reasons why they shouldn't have gotten it, or just downplaying something else in their life because obviously something's not sitting well with them. How do you deal with the fact, knowing that you're in the public domain, that you have earned many awards, and that maybe not everyone's happy for you?
That makes me sad that maybe not everyone's happy for me, but because I do write books and reading is so, and material that you read is so personal and it's so different for everyone. Like what everyone, what one person likes and somebody else may not like. And out of the 100% of people in the world, maybe only 20% are going to like my genre or going to like the point of view that I write in, or maybe not even that many percent. Maybe it's only 10% of the people out there that's going to even resonate. They like the point of view, they like the genre, they like the young adult content that is there. So you have to just cut those people. So 90% of the people, this isn't even for them. You're looking for your audience and the group of people that are going to love fantasy, vampires, which is very young adult content. At least for me, whatever you're writing, you're looking for those people. And sometimes you even let down those people, and that's hard. I just published the finale to one of my series, the Realm Chronicles series, and most of it's been widely popular. And of course, this is me. Like, I will pick out the one little thing in the one review that wasn't amazing, and think, oh, well, and of course, I always try to turn that into a learning lesson. Next time I'll fix this thing, but you can't please everyone. So even trying to fix that thing is sort of like not not the way to go always either. So obviously, I always want to improve my writing and my skill and resonate with my audiences, but you just kind of have to take them with a grain of thought and realize you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea and you're not going to resonate with everyone, and that's okay. Like I don't love, obviously I love everyone, but everything. I don't read horror. I don't love horror books, so I'm not going to read that type of book. So you give it to me and I'm going to say, it's probably a good book, but I don't want to read it because I don't want to stay up till midnight with nightmares.
Well, you bring up a good point, which I think also as an author and a publisher, you are an entrepreneur, as am I. And we're not for everyone. Not everyone's going to connect with us. And even though we may want that, I know as a coach, when I meet with first-time entrepreneurs and I'll say to them, who's your audience? Everyone is. Well, that's not actually the case, because we can't target and market to everyone because everyone's not going to resonate with us. So I'd love to have you share when you decided that you were going to write in the young adults, the fantasy, that creativity. How did you decide that that was your genre as opposed to nonfiction? Obviously not horror, but how did you decide that's where your home was going to be?
That's what I love reading, and that's what I love watching, whether it's TV, movies, series, books. I like that more innocent coming of age. Yeah, they're vampires, they're witches, and some people die, but it's not the gory horror, and it's not that's not the pervading story, I guess. I like the story of growth and overcoming adversity as well as personal trials and seeing like kind of my catchphrase is finding the magic. So seeing the magic within yourself, and what is that about yourself that makes you special, whether it's being able to write a poem or draw a beautiful picture or whatever special thing you have, whether it's being able to relate to some people really well or being very intuitive about people or people's feelings. Any of those things to me are magic and magic qualities about people. So showing a character that finds and realizes that about themselves and then is able to share that gift to help other people or even help their own situation or their own family. So that's sort of that magical quality that I like to bring out. And I think we can talk about a lot of things in fantasy worlds that may be harder to talk about in like contemporary settings. A lot of my characters, I have hybrid witches and vampires. The witches, which is an outlawed being. So that character deals with going to a human high school as a witch vampire and not being able to share that they're a witch or a vampire, and being in witch societies and not being able to share that they're half vampire, and being in vampire societies and pretending they're not a witch. So like things like that, as where do I fit in? All those questions that we deal with sort of in the young adult age. And one of my fairies is Fairy Queen. She's the first female monarch in her realm, and how does she fit in with all these in this predominantly, well, really only male role in her realm, and the fact that she's not being accepted, and many people think that she can't rule or can't do what she needs to do, and she questions herself at certain times, and that's very natural for people. Not all people maybe, but I do that. So that's very natural for us to question whether we can achieve something if people are telling us maybe we can. So I like dealing with those topics in that fantasy world, and I love everything witches and vampires. So that it was pretty natural for me to jump into that, just given my background.
Thanks for sharing that. We can see how passionate you are about that. And what I'd like to ask next before we go to our commercial break is, in terms of coming up with the stories, you've written over 20 books, I believe. There's some element of fantasy and some element of reality. So how do you walk the line and determine how much you're going to include into each of your books?
Right. So the Kingdom Journal series is basically an urban fantasy set in our contemporary world. Witches and vampires exist, but the general population of humans don't know they do. I really like that genre of having those people exist in our human world, but we don't know they're there. And they have to deal with humans and humans have to deal with them, and having to fit into that human element and maybe disguise themselves at certain times, but also have those special qualities about themselves that they can do different things than human can, maybe achieve a little bit more or different things sometimes. And then when I dove in with the fairies, it kind of happened that my witches needed a fairy army, and I thought, I'll just use these fairies, put them in. I never written fairies before, so my fairies are a little bit different than some people's fairies. And it's fun that everybody has their little bit take on the lore and the genres. So now I'm not even sure I answered the question, but I just like the thought that I could be walking next to someone who may be a little bit more magical than I am.
I love that. I think it would be so much fun to be a fairy princess even, and have these beautiful fairy wings and fly around.
Yes.
We're going to talk more with Tricia Copeland when we come back. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to hear from one of our own team members here at USA Global TV and Radio, and also someone who is a reference for this beautiful book that she has published. Her name is Tracy Cram Perkins, and the book is Dementia Home Care Before, During, and After. And I actually have had a copy of this. I passed it on. My mom had dementia, and I took care of her for 3.5 years. Let's take a look, and we'll be right back. USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care, How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio. Welcome back to Judgment, the Hidden Sin here on USA Global TV and Radio. My special guest today for our 4th episode is Tricia Copeland, who is from Colorado. She is a best-selling author. She's a publisher, and she's a podcaster. Let's welcome her back to the program. Hello, Tricia. Good to see you.
Hi, Jacqueline. Good to see you too.
Thanks for hanging around here during the break. I want to dive back into the podcasting because you actually interview authors and publishers, and I think it's great to give them a space and a home to share. What I found from our show, The Corner Bookstore, is many times authors are a little reluctant to come and be in the public domain. It's a little frightening in some ways, and to get them to share their stories, I think, is just wonderful. So tell us about how and when you started to do this podcast. What was the catalyst?
Right. So I started the podcast. It's the Finding the Magic book podcast on most of the channels. I started in 2021. So it was really a reaction to the pandemic. And I was in Toastmasters, and that was meeting online. And I enjoyed that group, but I wasn't meeting with my authors. I used to go to 3 or 4 author events per year, and I would meet up with my author friends, and I wasn't able to do that. And I was really missing those connections that I had before, just sharing author stuff, right, about our characters or about our books. And so I thought, well, one of the challenges or one of the activities you could do in Toastmasters was start a podcast. And I thought, well, if I start this podcast, I'll get credit in Toastmasters. I'll be able to talk to my author friends, and we'll be able to share our books and stories with the world. So I did it. Like, I did the first 5 episodes, and then I was hooked. Like, I had so many authors that I wanted to connect with, learn about what was going on with the books, what was going on with the characters, what was going on with their publishing. And I had a whole year's worth of content. So I did 1 year, and I did a second year, and then several publicists contacted me. So I work with Creative Edge now, and I work with some Penguin Random House people to get their authors just and their books out. So it's super fun. I talk about most genres. So if if one episode is not your genre, then you can jump into the next episode. I always have a description so you can find out what genre I'm talking about. But super fun to talk authors, from small indie authors. The youngest author I met with was 13 years old. She was amazing. And I re-interviewed her for the second time when she published her second book at age 14. So amazing. All the way up to, J.D. Barker, Jennifer Armentrout, authors like that. So it's super fun just to connect and learn about stories and worlds and magic and characters and what inspires people.
Congratulations. And thank you for sharing about the fact that you are a Toastmaster. I have so much respect for Toastmasters. We have a few Toastmasters here on our team, Red O'Loughlin being one of them. So I want to actually incorporate the judgment aspect. As a podcaster, I know for myself as a broadcaster, I've made many mistakes. Sometimes StreamYard kicks me out and the guest is on the stage and they're like, I'm watching it on the television. I see them sitting there going I'm trying to get back in, but I can't. And things just happen. One time I knocked the computer off. So have you ever had anything happen that you didn't anticipate and then you really judged yourself because of it?
I do a lot of things to keep that from happening. I don't go live. I tape, I record beforehand. And, part of me is I'm not a tech person. So I do very little. I try to do very little editing, but obviously when you have to edit. A lot of times things do get turned off. I'm late, the person is late, we have to edit things out, and all that's good. I mean, I keep my podcast very organic. So obviously sticking to the topic of books and them and their characters and those type of things. But sometimes we start on witches and we go to zombies. So it can be that sometimes. But just real life, real people. And I think most people, I tell them, and beforehand, this is organic. I'm like having coffee with you, talking about your books. And if something needs to be edited, we can do it. But I'd rather not, because that takes more work. So most people are okay with that.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Most people will go with the flow. Some people are a little focused on, can you send me questions in advance? And I know we don't use a script here. So for people watching, Tricia has no idea what I'm going to ask her. I don't even know what I'm going to ask her because I'm just following along with where the conversation is going. And I think that takes a lot of the stress out of it. So there is less judgment. But in the characters that you've created, and the title of this show is Judgment, the Hidden Sin, are there any hidden elements that you keep until the end, or maybe till that if there's a series that you reveal at a later point for your audience and people aren't really aware of it until the unveiling occurs?
There's definitely that. I think, those elements of surprise are great to have in books, like, oh, I didn't put that together, or they're little hints. I think mystery writers are so amazing at doing that. That's one genre I think my brain would explode if I tried to write mystery, because you have to lace in so many little details in the beginning that, may point to what the answer is, but then they're so little, people may not notice them until the end when they put them all together and you do the big reveal. But definitely I try to sprinkle in little things that are hints to what's coming, and hints at the bigger theme, or how we want to see the character grow, or what they're doing. And I take from so many different places and inspirations that sometimes I don't even know what they're going to be. Like, usually I know the beginning and ending of a book, and like how I get there is what I find fun, like, is creating the magic for me. It's funny. Another author said that one time, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't mean real magic." I said, like, "It's okay. I know what you meant." And so, like, that's the magic. That's the fun of what we're doing. So yeah, I love, like, surprising my readers with something they didn't expect, because I like to keep the pace going and it exciting and everybody on their toes.
And I can relate to that because that's how life is, right? Everything's not planned out. Things just happen, and we have to decide how are we going to show up when these things do happen. I love your website, and I'd like to take a look at it. Let's have the audience look. There's a lot of, I really feel like positive vibes when I'm looking at your website. So here it is. I love the font and the way that it's laid out. And I just get really, I'm thinking good vibes is what I'm getting when I come to your site here.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm a sort of a website person. so.
So I love these book covers. They're just, it's kind of interesting. It reminds me of bar class versus weightlifting, if this makes sense. So bar class, I feel like I'm standing taller. I feel my feminine energy coming out. And weightlifting, I feel like my powerful, strength coming out. When I look at these book covers, I'm getting both of them. So was that what you intended, male and female energy, or am I completely off on this?
No, definitely. My characters are very strong characters who, deal with lots of issues and have to overcome a lot. So I like to portray, sort of the themes and what's going on in each book on each book cover. And I was lucky enough for the Fae series, you see To Be a Fae and To Be a Fae Rogue there, to have Shara Smith Designs out of the UK helped me develop those covers. They started off as definitely a different looking. They were Ice Queen that had white hair and definitely looked different than what the final version was. So I was really happy to be able to have different variations of poses of that initial image so that I could have those different themes and feels to each book in the series.
And it is interesting for people who don't know, but when we bring on team members to create book covers, we're really handing them our baby and saying, what can you do with our baby? And sometimes people come back with something and it's like, that's not exactly what I was looking for, but maybe there's a reason why I need to consider that. Maybe something's meant to come up for me from that. So I think that your book cover designer has done an excellent job here. Really, really special.
I agree.
So, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, you have earned many awards. Which one, if you can actually specify, has the most meaning for you?
I think they all do. I mean, the local awards are fun because you get to go to them in person. The first Colorado award was from the Colorado Independent Publishing Association from Kingdom of Embers. And that was my first, really what I consider my first full-length fantasy book, and winning an award from Colorado Independent Publishing Association for that book meant a lot to me because it was my first one. And I felt like, okay, I'm being recognized by my peers here for this work. And it's funny because I set out to write a vampire series and it really spun and turned into a witch series. Not that, neither here nor there, no judgment to that, right? No judgment against the witches. But to have that recognized pretty early on was super great for me.
Yeah, it really is nice when someone acknowledges our work. And sometimes, I know for me, sometimes the judgment comes in where it's that imposter syndrome. It's like, wait, did I really deserve to earn this? And then it's like, come on, stop if someone recognizes you. But again, just going back to the judgment piece with the topic of the show, is that we judge ourselves so harshly. And you mentioned this at the top of the hour, is that the judgment that we put on ourselves is far worse typically than the judgment we might get from other people. What are your thoughts?
Definitely for me, that's been my experience. Other people may have other people judge them more than I do, but maybe they're more polarizing. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So anything I could, I'm going to be my own worst critic at any point in time, I feel like. And that's just something I've had to overcome and recognize in myself and kind of just lay that aside and say, okay, I'm going to focus on that one negative about myself. So we're going to put that aside and we're going to try to, every day I try to do 3 gratitude things and 3 things I am liking about where I am so that I keep staying positive and keep staying, like just now I'm like, oh, well, I got that award. Like I have to do something better, right? That's my next thought. What am I going to do better? What if my next thing is not as good or not better? Step back, just let the creative juices flow and try not to think about it too much.
Tricia, I really appreciate that you shared that because I am like that in so many ways. I'm always about the gold stars. What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? And it's like setting the standard so high that you have to remember to enjoy the ride. Because if we don't enjoy the ride, we're just collecting awards and things, then we're not going to be happy and fulfilled inside. So I really appreciate you bringing that up, because I think that ties in nicely with being aware of how we're judging ourselves, instead of saying, I am grateful for who I am. I'm grateful to be here, to be breathing, all those affirmations that you were talking about that you do. I do them as well. And I think it keeps us grounded so that we can actually preserve our energy, because a lot of our energy leaks out in terms of all the negativity we put on ourselves, and also negativity that we unconsciously could be putting on others.
Right. If I'm thinking negative about myself, I usually can't think positive about if I'm so stuck in that negativity, I usually can't be positive about other people either. And that's pretty sad. And it keeps me stuck like that. It makes me fearful that I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, Z. So that keeps me stuck and keeps me from doing things that I, may just do and put out there and, be like, okay, this is the first draft. It can be edited. Like in the 4th book in my series, my editor was like, the first 10 chapters is boring. And I was like, wait, the book is only 20 chapters long. So, these things can be fixed.
That's right. They can be fixed. It is not life urgent. It's not an emergency. It's something that we love to do and we are good at it, and we can revisit it. So thank you for sharing that. We're coming to the end of our show, and I just wondered if you might have a message for people out there who are either judging themselves or maybe getting in the way of their own progress of being an author or being a podcaster. Something you can share.
I think it is stressful. And I just finished up the series, the Realm Chronicles series, and everybody's like, what are you doing next? What are you doing next? And I'm like, oh, okay, breathe. I do have some ideas, and I am writing romance now under my Maria Jane pen name, but even that's slower than I want it to be, because I think I am a little bit stuck in thinking, oh, what if it's not as good? What if I can't live up to making it a good book? And a little bit of imposter syndrome. But I find like if I do it every day, I just do it. I keep doing a little bit. My brain just keeps working on what the next thing is. And that gets me excited. It keeps me in my characters. It keeps me in my story, and it keeps me moving forward. Because when I stop moving forward, then that's when like all those little insecurities bubble up. So if I just keep moving forward, just keep doing it, and then my editor will help me make it as well, the best product that I can make it. And just for me, it's just putting one foot in front of the other and keep like creating, so that, because if I do get stagnant, that's when more fears come in. If I let more time go by that I haven't done something, then it's like a snowball effect. So keep doing what you're doing and keep moving forward. And that's like 99% of the momentum.
Thank you so much, Tricia. What's the best way for people to reach you, and who would you like to contact you?
Anyone can contact me. I love hearing from readers, first of all, and their opinions about my books, my characters. You can go to my website. My email is Tricia, Tricia, at TriciaCopeland.com, so people can reach me that way. If you see if there are 99-cent starters to the series, there are free short stories if you join my newsletter. If you like audiobooks, both the Kingdom Journals and Realm Chronicles are on audiobooks as well. So lots of way to reach me. I'm on most social media as Tricia Copeland author, or author Tricia Copeland.
Thank you so much. I love this website. It's so well done. And I really appreciate you joining me here for the show today. I wish you continued success and all the happiness in the world.
You too, Jacqueline. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye for now. Well, there you have it, our 4th episode. Thank you for watching, whether it's on the live or the replay. I do want to leave you with 5 peace actions. I am a peace ambassador, and if I can get through to even one person in the world, it would mean a huge difference. Seek peace within yourself and others. We talked about judgment today. Give yourself grace, give yourself a break, and please be kind to other people. We see someone and we automatically judge them. We have no idea what's going on with them because people have no idea what's going on with us. Reach out in service. If you don't have a ton of money to give back, that's okay. Lend a hand. Look around in your circle and say, who can I share my expertise and my knowledge with? Who can I help today? Protect the environment, protect the oceans, recycle, pick up your trash, and respect diversity. I like nothing more than traveling around the world and seeing different cultures and how people live. I'm very curious. Be curious and also be a responsible citizen of the world. These seem like basic things, but in the world today, sometimes we need to be reminded of them. So I wish you peace. I wish you joy. And I leave you with the 3 questions again before you speak. Is it kind? Is it necessary? And is it true? If not, maybe take a 6-second pause, maybe take a step back, maybe leave the room, maybe excuse yourself, maybe say, I'd rather not speak at this moment. Bite your tongue, so to speak, before you hurt someone's feelings when you don't have to. If it's not that important, it's not necessary, and it's not true. Okay, our next show coming up is Iconic Women with Dawn Bates. Stay tuned right here on this station, and you will see that program. Thank you again to Tricia. Thank you to Creative Edge, and thank you to each and every one of you for being here. That's a wrap for today. Bye for now. USA Global TV and Radio, home of the YouTube Silver Creator Award, proudly presents Just the Thing for Your Ring, introducing the patented Ring Thing. Your premium personal ring holder to keep your ring safe, nearby, and avoid loss.
The Ring Thing just got smarter. Add your logo and an NFC tag that opens to your website with one tap. Waterproof, inner padding, and now a forever business card.
Just the thing for your ring. Scan the QR code seen here to learn more about Ring Thing or place your order. Follow Ring Thing on Instagram at ring_thing_ or go to our website, ringthing.com.
Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at usaglobaltvradiosshop.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to usaglobaltvradiosshop.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting. We're building bridges and changing lives, one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.